Hey guys, it is Sunday morning, well, Sunday afternoon actually, it's 2 o'clock. So I was trying to get out some comic pages over the weekend, but I think I might have to get them out during the week. I kind of just enjoyed my weekend. I did paint last night. It was just like a nice personal painting. It's up on Patreon right now, like the full image, and I'm not releasing the full image until after I release a YouTube video on it, because I actually filmed a YouTube video for it, which is surprising. So yeah, I did that last night, and then my boyfriend and I just watched a couple movies. Well, mostly me. I put on a bunch of movies, and he just kind of pays attention, but not really. So I put on Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, because I don't think I've ever seen that movie fully. I've only seen it like in pieces. So I finally watched the full thing, and it was pretty good. It's like a creepy serial killer movie from the 90s, and it was pretty good. Kind of mediocre in some parts. Mostly the motivation for the killer was kind of weird to me, but it was pretty good. And then I put on, as a palette cleanser, because that movie is pretty dark, I put on a palette cleanser. There was a new movie on Netflix called Game Night, which was okay. It was kind of just like your regular comedy. So yeah, and then we went to sleep at like 5 a.m. and I woke up at about noon, and I showered. I put on some concealer, some blush, and some lipstick, and that's really it. Oh, and I put on eyeliner too. I didn't want to put on full foundation. So yeah, and then I'm sitting here and I'm working on a comic page. I'm pretty slow at it. I think it's because I'm not totally decided on what I want to happen next. So I've kind of been procrastinating, because once I get an idea of what's gonna happen next in the story, I usually just pump out the pages in succession. So I just don't have that snap yet. So hopefully it comes soon, and I can just finish this is like the close to the climax of the story. It's not there yet. It's still the build up of the story. So yeah, that's usually the hardest, getting up to the climax, and then once I get there, usually it's pretty smooth going for me. So yeah, so not much over the weekend. I did buy these new Chinese New Year stamps. It's the Year of the Rat. I guess it's yeah, the Year of the Year of the Rat, yeah, regular Canadian stamps, because I thought it was really cute. I'll probably use these for Patreon packages, but I like the illustration, so I keep the packaging because I think it's really cute. They had nicer ones for the international ones, but I didn't get those yet, so I might get that. And then yesterday we did groceries, even though it was snowing like crazy. It's still snowing right now. Over the weekend it was supposed to be like a snowstorm here in Toronto, so that's what it's doing. But it looks like it cleared up, and there's actually sun coming out. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing this Sunday morning, and not much. Okay, it is now 4:29 and I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna cut up some veggies for lunches this week. It's gonna be relaxing. I like doing that. So I'm just gonna cut some stuff up, take a break from this, because I'm working so slow. Okay, let's go downstairs. Alright, I'm making some veggie lunches. I brought my headphones, and I'm just gonna cut stuff. again. Hey guys, so it is Wednesday night and I am in front of my computer. I got home from work maybe at about like 8:30. It was a late day at the office, so I got back really late. I had dinner late and then I just showered and got ready for bed, but I was not sleepy yet. I'm not sleepy yet, so I thought I would have a nice relaxing night of just doing my expense sheet. Tax season will be crawling, well not crawling, will be like sneaking up on me soon. So everything's due in like April, but I want to get most of it done and out of the way before then. I already received my T4 at work, which is just a statement of everything that I earned at my office job for the year of 2019. So I am pretty much ready to file taxes if I just sit down and do my business expenses. So I pulled out my handy dandy, I forgot what you call these, like business thing. So everything is a mess in there because I was doing pretty well until we moved house. So after we moved house, I just couldn't keep up with this stuff. So I'm just gonna spend a couple of hours tonight before I go to bed and do it. I quite like doing it because it's kind of relaxing for me. The money part is a bit scary to do, but I have to do it. It's a necessary evil, but I do like organizing things. So I thought it would be relaxing. I filled myself a nice cold bottle of water. I'm just gonna put some YouTube videos on and I'm going to organize everything and hopefully get most of it done today, well tonight. Not really strict, I just kind of want to get it started. And so yeah, I have my notepad, I have a highlighter, and I have my pen. Oh, I do have to print stuff out, so everything's ready. But yeah, I don't know what else I'm gonna vlog. I just thought I'd say that, so maybe tomorrow I'll do like a little update and tell you guys what happened. But that's it, that's what I'm doing tonight. Relaxing tax night. Okay, it's the next day. I woke up like 5 minutes ago. I'm trying to do my makeup and look at this. Oh my god. I hope that goes away because there's a couple of people coming over to check the basement, so in the morning, so they said they'll be here at 9 and it's like 8:40, so yeah, I basically woke up at 6 and then I was like, I'll just stay in bed, and then I fell asleep and then I like bolted awake at like 5 minutes ago, so. Okay, so the window guy has left and so has my, wait, is there a word for that? The marks on your face you get when you lay on fabric. Okay, so he left. Everything is fine. I won't bore you with the details. Basically, there's a leak in the house and we're still trying to diagnose it properly. So, but I wanted to start off the vlog. Well, I already started the vlog. So you saw me last night working on my tax stuff. It's basically just me putting together and organizing my receipts. So I've done that. I haven't filed taxes yet, no. I still have to kind of put everything into a tax program, but I'm saving that for later. But most of the job is already done. So I have folders here for categories. The biggest one is the post stuff. And what else? Post stuff, this big post. And also there's another folder behind it for office expenses slash art supplies. So those are the biggest categories. And then I have meals and entertainment here. I categorize receipts and expenses there for like when I go to conventions and then I buy a coffee or something like that, or a meal or a lunch. I put it under here. Also like client gifts, so if I meet up with a fellow art person and I buy them a gift, I can claim that as a expense. And then I just have a folder for transit stuff or just like bus passes. So I think this is more makes more sense this year because I purchased, well, I opened up a separate transit card. So whenever I do like art supply runs or if I have to go to an art group, I can put the receipts there. Most of these receipts are for just my regular going to work stuff. So, but I opened up a folder for that. And then I have a folder called professional fees. So this is where my table fees are for my conventions, anything like that. Also, that's really the only thing I have right now. I'm not part of any kind of art program or art membership thing yet. So that's really all it is. And then this one, I think these are just miscellaneous tax documents. Yeah, so miscellaneous tax stuff. I have travel. So I didn't really travel for business this year, so there's not much in here. I did travel to Montreal at some point, so I counted that as like travel expenses, so train tickets and all that kind of stuff. What is in here are my TCAF expenses. I just didn't know if I should put them in travel or for meals and stuff like that, because most of these are like meals. And then this one is just other miscellaneous kind of tax and mutual fund stuff. So that's really it. I am missing a couple of receipts that I have to put in here, like a lot of digital receipts. But I have a bunch of Amazon receipts that I have to print out still and put them in the art supplies. They are in my budget sheet, which I am going to actually talk about that and kind of go through in detail for reference. I was thinking about this last night as I was putting all the expenses together. I even asked my patrons on the Discord if anybody would be interested in me talking about this kind of stuff. I never really liked to talk about it in detail because I never counted myself as a small art business yet. I don't even count myself as that now. I'm not making, like, I made more money than I did last year doing art stuff, which is pretty great. I just never want to count myself as being successful because the word scares me. I feel like I'm gonna jinx myself. I think it's just the way I've been raised. Anyway, so, but I'm gonna do that because I think it's really beneficial for people to hear this kind of stuff, especially if you're thinking about starting your own art store and you're afraid. So I think I'm gonna start off before we go into detail with my budget sheet. You know those videos on YouTube where people are like, this is how much I spend in a month or whatever? So I'm gonna do pretty much that, but first, I wanted to cover a couple of questions that are non-budget related that I got on Patreon that I think would be really interesting because I don't think I ever really sat down and talked about it. So hold on, let me set up the camera so I don't have to like hold it up. Okay, I think that'll do. I'm trying to figure out a way to talk where it's kind of interesting and it's not just a face or a head talking at you, but I'm gonna try and keep it short. I wanted to cover, yeah, so like I said, I wanted to cover a couple of stuff on Patreon, just like some general Patreon questions that I got when I prompted people if they wanted to know more about the business side of the art business that I'm running. I'm trying my best to call it an art business now. It's like when you decide to call yourself an artist, you get to a point where you have to call yourself a business. So I'm trying my best to do that. Anyway, so the biggest one I really wanted to talk about was like starting a store, because I remember very distinctly starting a store, and by no means my store right now is like the most successful thing. I don't make like thousands and thousands of dollars every month in my store, but I make some money, and so I wanted to kind of reflect back on how I started it, because maybe some people are on the same boat as I was back then. So I started a Store Envy store because I wanted to try it. And so I opened up an account, and then I think the first few things that I sold there were like mugs. I started with putting up mugs, which is the hardest thing to sell. So anyway, so I opened up a store. I bought these mugs because I wanted to paint on mugs. And so I put them up on the store. I remember taking pictures of the mugs on my kitchen floor in my old apartment because that's where the light would come in from, like the back door. So I took pictures, I posted them up on Store Envy, and nobody bought them for a long time. And I was like, okay, whatever. So they were up there for a long time, and as they were up there, I started thinking about other products that I wanted to sell. So I think I decided to sell prints and of my artwork. So the way I would print out artwork cheaply was I would print them actually at Walmart, at, you know, the photo print store, because the way they printed out didn't look too bad. So I would sell them for like $3 or $5 on Store Envy. So I just like I did that, and the cost of making them wasn't too high because printing out the pictures or the prints at the photo stand at Walmart was like a couple cents. So I add that to my roster in my store, and I was like, what if I, and then at that time I was watching a lot of like Bailey J vlogs, and she does a lot of like the Bailey J videos, so she did a lot of like buttons, and she had a button machine, and I was like, I want that. So I decided to invest in a button machine, and that's when I built up my store to have buttons, and that's when I started to sell some stuff, like a couple sales here and there every month, like 1 or 2. So I would sell prints, and then I would sell buttons, and then for my packaging stuff, I just decided to buy everything from Dollarama because the amount of people buying from my store wasn't that much. So, and it was cheaper to do it, to buy stuff from Dollarama to ship stuff. So craft envelopes, sheet protectors, that's what I would use for like cello bags. But yeah, so I just started because I wanted to try it, and then because it's just so slow in the beginning, you kind of get that chance to experiment with stuff and like experiment how you want to package things. So I totally went in not expecting anybody to buy anything, but I just felt like I wanted to open up a store. That was really it. I wasn't afraid of like not fulfilling orders or something like that, because I was never at the point where I thought like people would buy a lot of my stuff, because I was a pretty small like creator. I was just dabbling into the art stuff. So of course I was excited to sell things, or the possibility of selling things was exciting, but for me I think it was more of like I'm excited to put stuff up on the store. But yeah, so I started with that, and then eventually I moved up because I was doing a lot of watercolors. At that time I decided to sell original artwork, and a lot of people, and as I was working on my art and my store and stuff like that, it just kind of built everything. So as I was getting more people following my work, there was more purchases on my art store. So I guess it would be a different case if you are really popular online and a lot of people follow your work, and but you don't have a store. So if you open a store and then you're really popular, you're obviously going to get a lot of people buying from you. So I guess it's different in that case. You would be kind of inundated with a lot of orders, and you'd have to kind of, the learning curve is going to be steep, and it's going to be difficult for you to kind of figure out what's going on, because the demand is so high. But if you have a few followers here and there, it's not a problem. I think if you open up a store, it won't be too crazy. And there's so many resources right now of people on studio vlogs and stuff showing how they do it. So I think if you are thinking about opening up a store, you should, because it'll be a learning experience, and it's just good. It's just good to start it, because if you can build it up, it's not gonna go, it's not like you open it up and then all of a sudden it explodes and it stresses you out too much. I think if you are a creator who's dabbling into things and starting stuff, it'll be a nice kind of easing into the art business world. So I guess that's what I wanted to say. And then I think that's why I don't sell a lot of prints on my store too, because the original artwork, selling original artwork really worked for me because it was cheap. I didn't have to buy glossy print paper and stuff like that. I just had to sell original artwork that I painted on watercolor paper. That was really it. And then I just had to buy shipping stuff from Dollarama. So start off with original artwork if you have it. Put it up on the store. Store Envy is great because it's free, and you don't have to, limit the amount of stuff that you can list on your store. You can just put up so much stuff, however many things you want. So in the beginning, my store was a lot of original artwork. I eventually took the mugs away because nobody really bought that, but I kept the buttons, I kept the original artwork, and to this day I still sell original artwork on there. I kind of like park them there, and eventually somebody will buy it as you grow in your kind of creatorship. So yeah, experiment. Put stuff on there. Don't worry if no one's gonna buy it. Eventually somebody will buy it because it's there, and you can experiment with like discount codes. I did that for a bit on Store Envy when I could. And you don't necessarily have to have, you know, the best store there. I think store hosting site like Squarespace or Shopify. If you're starting out, Store Envy is pretty good. Etsy is pretty good. It's just really a vessel for you to sell stuff. Obviously it is. So I think, if that made any sense, that was kind of my first few experiences with store stuff. And right now it's still pretty manageable. I am offering prints on there, but that was when I got my printer. My biggest investment, I think, in the beginning was my button maker. It was expensive, but then a year or two after that, I eventually decided to buy a printer. And I got this Artisan inkjet printer, which I do a lot of my printing from. So once I have this in my roster, after I saved up a bunch of money and I have this making prints for me, I added more stuff to the store. And I like doing a lot of stuff at home, like making my own buttons, making my own felt figures and stuff, making my own prints, because it cuts the cost down and I can get so much work from this bad boy that I got, this printer. So I really love this printer, and it's been with me for a long time. And if you get a nice printer, you can eventually print out zines and stuff like that, but no one's stopping you from making original handmade zines. You can just draw the zines, sell them handmade. So there's also that option. That's a really cool thing to do. You can sell handmade stuff. It's just, there's so many possibilities you can do right now. The shipping, figuring out the shipping is the scarier part, but I kind of jumped into that because I wasn't really good at math. So what I did is, if I sold something and the shipping cost was really high, I was like, oh shit, that sucks. Well, no choice now. I just have to like eat the cost, and then the next time I do it, I adjust. I kind of learn how things ship for how much. You eventually kind of adjust. You can be the kind of person who wants to research everything before jumping into it. I was not that kind of person, so I think I ate a lot of costs in terms of shipping in the beginning because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm kind of that kind of person, kind of like trial and error. I adjust as I go. So I remember selling a original artwork that was big to the States, and then I stuffed it with, like, I put some extra stuff in there, and it was so expensive. But I was like, I can't do anything about it. The person bought it, they gave me money, and I put a certain shipping amount for them to pay, and it was over it. So I was like, I just gotta eat the cost and adjust next time. So don't be scared about that as well. Again, there's so many resources online about the way your country ships stuff. So but you can go my route if you're not afraid and kind of just adjust as you go. But yeah, so that's the thing. I think most of them about the store stuff. And then as I built up my store stuff, I was doing more conventions. Everything was kind of happening in tandem and very slow and gradual. I think I started taking this seriously around 2013 or 2014, and I was just experimenting with a lot of things to sell. I was experimenting with my artwork, and then I was building the community that I have now, which is not like the biggest, but it's still really great. So yeah, and then now I think I can get into tracking expenses and stuff like that. I'm going to show you my spreadsheet for 2019 from January to December, and you can see like the costs that I have for where I'm at now. It's going to be different for somebody who is like Fran Nerd, or who is like Chris Hong, who probably has a lot of like store, purchase, like people buying from their stores all the time, so they have to buy more supplies for that. My store is fairly small. My art business, is fairly small, so I don't have too many costs right now. I don't make too much, I don't make tons and tons of enamel pins or washi tape. So, but we'll go over that, and then I'll try my best to explain what's going on. And then somebody wanted me to talk about like RRSPs and benefits. So I'll talk about that in the end, I think. But we'll move on to my expense sheets. This is like 12 sheets, so I can write on the side, so I can kind of show you guys what's happening. I hope that was okay, and it's like 11 minutes of me chatting about that. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight into how to start a store. Basically, don't be afraid. Okay, so I hope that you can see that. Also, I apologize for my nails. Look how much they're growing out. There's some chipping, but it's pretty good. Okay, so I have a pen here. I have some highlighters, and we are starting with January. So I'm probably just gonna go through like some of the months, but I think it would be interesting to see what happened in January of 2019 here. So I hope that's zoomed in enough. So you can see everyone does this differently. I laid out my spreadsheet the way that makes sense to me. So this was done in Excel. So there are some formulas at the end here that kind of sum all my expenses up and then add all the income and then, you know, total it and everything like that. So here, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so a lot of my costs in 2019 are postage and like art supplies slash office expenses. So you can see here, January 3rd, 4th, 14th, 21st, 28th, and 17th, I was shipping a lot of stuff. Well, actually, this one was a DHL Customs thing. I don't remember what that was for. I had to pay customs for. I think these were washi tapes. I think. Yeah, so they just are like really basic. They don't detail everything because I can look at that on my statements, my credit card statements, because in 2019 I opened up a credit card that was just for my business, so it's a lot easier to track everything. So if you are thinking about opening up a business or you are in your art business, you should switch to a credit card that is just for your business or a debit card so you can track all your expenses. And when you buy anything that has to do with your business, so brushes for a certain project, use that credit card and nothing else so you can track everything easily every month and you don't have to go through like different online banking things. Anyway, so you can spend so much on Canada Post, which is the main post place that I use. I haven't moved on from Canada Post yet because that works out for me right now for the amount of people who buy on my store. I heard about Chit Chats and stuff like that, but I don't have access to Chit Chats. I'd have to like take a bus or something like that. Anyway, so Canada Post, you can see a lot of money spent there. And this is mostly for Patreon and for my store purchases, so people who buy stuff from my store. That's really it. And so in art supplies, I have online labels, which is my sticker paper. I bought my Cricut the year before, so I buy a lot of sticker sheets there, maybe every other month. It's pretty expensive because this is actually US. This is Canadian converted from US, so I paid $179.69, and a lot of this is just called Amazon, but I buy a lot of my, my cello bags, my envelopes, paper on Amazon, and some random art supplies, so I just call them Amazon. And again, I can look on my bank statements to see what they were or go through my Amazon orders to see what they were, because I do have the date and you can find them by the cost. So, and then this one, Serafina Art, when I was doing some felting, I really wanted to get a felting tool, so I bought a bunch of stuff from Serafina Art and I put that under art supplies because they're art supplies. And then this one, my IKEA trolley, I put it under office expenses slash art supplies or furniture because I use that for my studio. And then other, this is when I paid for my TCAF table. I paid $197.75. And so I put that under other. But because I have that professional folder, I can put it under professional fees. And then I do count my phone. I pay quite a bit for my phone. And why do I have, yeah, and then I have Prime, and I put Netflix on here under my art expenses because I use them all the time when I am drawing, and I count them as art reference, so I do put them as an expense. And as you can see, this red box here is the amount of money I spent in January. I am probably missing a couple of receipts here and there, but I've spent, for this at least, I spent about $1,300 this month, so pretty high. And now the green box here shows you the income in January. So PayPal would be my store, and Patreon, that's where all the money from my store and Patreon come in. They come in through PayPal. So
and sometimes they come in and I take them out. I withdraw stuff from PayPal very frequently because I don't want to park money there just in case. Just in case something happens. So whenever I have a significant amount of money that I think is enough to withdraw, I will withdraw it. So I withdrew 197, and then I had 2,400 in there at some point. I don't remember all there might be some other stuff from last year that is in here, maybe commissions or something like that, but I don't remember. I can go back and look at what came in on PayPal, but I'm pretty sure it's just store and Patreon stuff. And then Stripe is another kind of I don't know what they're called, because Store Envy, they receive payments through PayPal and also through Stripe. So some people can choose to pay via PayPal or via Stripe, and I think this is like credit cards or something like that. So I had $711.46 on Stripe. And then YouTube, I made some money in YouTube. I made $123.45 in January. So my total income for that month was $3,471.09, and I will minus that total, minus the expenses from that total, and so my actual net profit that month was $2,162.06. And that's pretty good for that month, actually. I don't really make that much in my art stuff, so that was a good month. I made about more than $2,000. And the CC here just means the credit card payments I had to do. I like to put that in there just so I kind of know that just for me. But it's kind of redundant because I already have the total expenses. So anyway, so I made, in January of 2019, I made that much money. So yeah, that's just, and it's the same in everything. So let's go to February. As you can see, a lot more Canada Post stuff. I spend a lot of money at Canada Post. I always spend a lot of like art supplies and stuff. So clear bags, you can see. Oh, and this is the t-shirts. When I did t-shirts in 2019, this is also some t-shirt art supplies, I guess the ink and stuff. And then I bought a bunch of stuff from art stores above ground. Oh, button parts right here. And then Dollarama, I probably bought stickers and stuff like that for packaging orders. Clear bags, crystal clear bags. And these were my washi tapes. When I decided to make washi tapes, I spent $165.47. And then GoDaddy is the actual, so I did pay. This is the domain or the hosting website that I use. So I spent $45.18, and I think that's a 2-year plan. Reference, I put Chris Hong art under my reference. I bought 2 of her prints and I think pouches. I spent that much money, so I put it under my expenses because it has to do with my art. So I decided to just put it down there. And then my phone and my internet and then my Prime subscription. So in February I spent about $1,400, and then this is my income stream for February. NY is a commission that I did. So like it was a client that I worked with. They paid me about $500 for that. And YouTube, YouTube I'm starting to make more than $100. So I used to make like 40, 50, and now I'm about $100 now, which is pretty great. Like I use this for more art supplies, and yeah, so in total I made, with expenses taken away, I made $1,400. So I feel like I broke even this month. Again, same thing in the next month. A lot of Canada Post, more Amazon, and then some t-shirt stuff. Uber. Why did I use an Uber? Why? If I put it here, it's for business, so I probably went, I don't know, TCAF or something. This was a merch, so I put it under reference. I bought something from an artist. I think it was a sweater, and then again that stuff. I spent less this month of March. I'm still stuck on the Uber. Like, why did I take an Uber? I don't remember. So you can see there's like commissions, YouTube, PayPal, and most of the money that is coming in here is Patreon and my store stuff. So pretty good month actually. I made $2,700. Oh. In April, I bought a Starbucks water bottle. I used it when I went to a convention, so I put it under business expense. Michael's, I went to Sugar King. I bought a bunch of candies for patrons, so I put it under my business expenses. I spent so much money on postage as usual and regular stuff. I made another commission here, right here. YouTube, I made almost like $160. That's crazy. And this was also a good month. I think at the beginning of 2019, it was really good. 2019 was a very good year for me. Canada Post, sticker stuff. I took some cash out. Oh, this was May, so this was TCAF. So this is probably an expensive month. So I was doing a lot of prep. I took some cash out for my float for my table, so I can have loonies and toonies ready. This was a table fee for the Toronto Stationery Show. It was $85. So I paid it in May, and the show was in the summer. So I paid my table fee for the next show, and then I bought a sandwich, I guess, for $7.90. That's probably the sandwich that I really like. So I put it under business expense because I think that was like around TCAF. Then I bought some gifts for some fellow art people, and so I put it as a business expense. And then you can see here, TCAF, Dagu rice noodle. I think that was for dinner after TCAF. I'm pretty sure. I went to Shoppers, I went to Korean Barbecue, Sunset Grill, and then I bought some office plants for my studio, or some plants for my studio, so I put that under my business expense. But yeah, I do put meals under business expense if it deals with a convention, so that's why there's restaurant stuff, and then some internet stuff. So I made quite a bit of money this month because of all the TCAF stuff, and then also some store stuff. And you can see TCAF, this was the cash that I made, and this is the Square transactions, which is a lot actually. So again, another good month for me. And it kind of tapers off towards the end of, towards the middle and the end of the year. This time I made $724. I didn't have too much expenses in June, I guess. Yeah. Yes. What? Okay, so you can see I have to get rid of this because it's double. $84.75 and $84.75 again, so I have to get rid of that. In my update, so this is probably wrong, and I show you the total of how much I made, so this is probably going to affect that, but it's okay, we can minus that in our heads. So same stuff. I bought a bunch of food. And why did I buy a bunch of food? This was in July. I think I was doing some art stuff. Sometimes when I go buy art supplies, I will kind of count my meals as a business expense because I spent that day doing art stuff. And if I get audited and they're like, why did you go to Hero Burgers on July 6, 2019 and count that as a business expense? Well, I think it's because that was my dinner for that day after I did some art stuff. If I'm doing something wrong, any tax people, let me know. But that's how I was taught at school. I did go to school and we did have a business course, and they said, if you have a meal that is a business that you do under business pretenses, then you can count that as a business expense. So that was July. This is August, kind of slower. I bought some candles, which were pretty expensive for my studio. And then this was the Toronto Stationery Show. So I have a lot of meals and stuff like that here. And I decided to count shoes that I bought for my Europe trip because I'm going to use that for conventions and stuff too. So I thought it could be a business expense because I will be wearing these shoes when I'm doing conventions. So you can push it, but you don't want to, I think. Let's see what else. I whited that out because it was personal. So I made, again, quite a bit of money because of the convention. But my total profit, as you can see from all the expenses, from all the stuff that I had to buy, it's just down to $18.80. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. September, not too much because I was getting ready to go to Europe, but I always have Canada Post because I'm always mailing stuff for Patreon or for orders if I get them. I bought a bunch of art supplies here. They're not detailed as to what they were, but for sure, I just buy art supplies and stuff on Amazon and really rarely anything else. Well, I lied. I actually bought like maybe like dishes and stuff for the house or something like that. Oh, and Shutter is here because again I use it for when I'm working. And then this is a meal at Subway because I went to Subway to get lunch or late lunch before I did my talk at Max the Mutt College, and I spent $7 on that sandwich. And yeah, so my profit for this month was $640. And then now it's October. I'm back from Europe. I did some mailing. I bought more sticker paper. I went to Dollarama, and then I bought some, this is probably paper and more cello bags for my orders. My Prime. Shutter was a one-time thing, so it was just that the previous month. And then I did get rid of Netflix eventually. You saw, so Netflix is gone. I got rid of it. I didn't want it anymore. This was I had another convention this month, so MCX, that was a convention. I used my Square thing, so I made $50 on Square, and then my cash from MCX I made $470, and then I got paid $150 for the talk I did the previous month, so I made this is a lot of money I made, and then minus the expenses, it's $2,700. And then now we are in November. So again, more mailing. Same thing. I bought button parts in November, and then don't have anything for references, but I bought a bunch of stuff. So I think I met up with an art friend and I bought some bubble tea. I went to get my same sandwich at the market. I went to Whole Foods to get some lunch earlier that day, and I bought a jacket for and I counted it as a business expense because I wanted a nice jacket to present myself when I went to my gig at Casper, because I had a really gross jacket. So for conventions and for like art meetings and stuff like that, I want to make myself presentable. So I counted my new jacket as a business expense. And then I also bought new tights at Ardene for Casper. So I spent, I bought a bunch of tights, and I also bought some earrings. So I counted that, and this is how much I made. I got paid for doing a live drawing thing at MCX, and then that's how much I made, and this is how much really net I made with the expenses taken. In December, as you saw, it's getting pretty slow, but I still have some Canada Post stuff. These were my Vistaprint business cards. I bought some stuff at Desairs, which I count as a business expense. All my art supplies are always a business expense. I went to Dollarama again, and then I went to Muji to buy some, I think this was the plate, and also a bunch of stuff for my patrons. And then, so here, I think this is some stuff, this is for Casper itself. I bought like lunch and coffee when I was working at Casper. So this was my lunch/dinner, and then I bought coffee in the morning, and then a coffee and a donut or something like that, or a sandwich that day too. And then I went to meet up with an art friend this month. We went to this restaurant, and I bought some stuff at H Mart for my patrons, like little candies and stuff like that. And Muji I went to buy more Casper stuff. Ooh, you see, duplicating. Good thing we're doing this because there's duplicated stuff here, so I can get rid of that. And I put Cargo Collective, which was my new internet thing, under marketing. So this is my website pretty much. I paid $60 and I put it under marketing. My phone, Prime is still there. Netflix is no longer there at this point. And so here's my income, store, and this is Patreon and store stuff. And this is how much I got paid at Casper. This is the first half. It was in USD, so it got converted into Canadian. And then YouTube, I made the most out of forever, more than $200 from YouTube, I think, because it was December. And then I got paid for a commission for some client work I did in the last couple of months. I got paid $425. And then, so I made this much money and net amount was this much for December. And so, because I made some duplicates, this is probably not the most accurate number. But my total profit for 2019 was $33,000, which is crazy when I got this number. And my total expenses was about $11,000 or $12,000. So the net profit for 2019 was about $21,000, which is insane. I think last year I made about 15,000, and the year before that I probably made like $5,000. So I'm in an upward trajectory, but I don't know what 2020 is going to be like, because 2019 was a pretty good year for my art business. I had a lot of client work, I had a lot of shows that I went to, and so I was really active doing my art stuff. So this is still pretty shocking for me. That's a lot of money for me. It's crazy. But again, it'll there's mistakes and stuff here, and some other expenses that I probably missed, but that is pretty much what happens every month. So you can see it's all the same from January to the end of the year. I don't know, how do you guys do it? I hope this gives you some insight into some art stuff. So this is purely all art business. Okay, so that was my spreadsheet. That's how I keep track of all my business expenses and money coming in and out every month. Like I said, it's not probably 100% accurate. I'm missing certain things, but that just gives you like a general overview of how I go about things. And I'm kind of nervous because it's pretty personal information. Like, I don't really share that kind of stuff, and it's totally not me like saying, oh, look how much money I made. It's just me trying to talk about it, because I don't think a lot of people really talk about the money stuff. And I also am a little bit uncomfortable talking about it, because I'm not the greatest with stuff like this, with money. I don't predict what's gonna happen with my art business. Like, if you ask me like, oh, where do you think you'll be in like a year in your art business? I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of go with the flow, and I'm pretty shocked at the amount of money that I made. I had an idea every month when I was putting stuff in my budget sheet, but I'm just like kind of like didn't believe it. So yeah, so the last thing I wanted to talk about was, like, somebody was wondering if I paid myself a salary every month. I guess I do. I do take out money from, what I do is I have like I also have an art business account along with my art credit card. I have an art business account where all my money comes in. So money from Patreon, from PayPal, or from Stripe, it comes into this one art account. So what I do every month, what I pay my credit cards, so my art credit cards, every month I pay that, and once I pay that, I take a certain amount. I pretty much take all of it. I leave maybe like $200 for any kind of cost that I would have to pay for, like any postage or any mail that I have to do. I leave at least $200 in there, but the rest of what I made, I put it into savings. And so technically I'm paying myself, but I'm putting all that money into savings, because for everyday expenses like groceries and mortgage and stuff like that, I use my office money. I use my day job money for that. So I didn't really talk about that, because that's totally separate from my business stuff. So I do have a day job, and the day job covers, mortgage, it covers the heating bill, it covers my public transit costs, it covers groceries. But that's why I put a lot of my art income, or most of my art income, into my savings, because that's what I will eventually be using to pay for my mortgage and pay for more art supplies. So that's what I do. I rarely take money out of the savings account to pay for my art business credit card, because by the time I have to pay for my art business credit card, there is some money coming in from like the next few days or the next few months from Patreon or something like that. Does that make sense? So I do pay myself a salary, and I try to do it every month, so I don't have money kind of just pooling in one spot. So it's kind of liquid, it's kind of moving everywhere.
And it also gives me, sitting down every month and putting that money out and into my savings gives me, kind of relief. It also teaches me that I should do it so I can have a better idea of what I am actually making. It's always a good idea to pay yourself. So definitely, of course, if you are doing this as your only job, you definitely have to pay yourself. So yeah, one last thing I wanted to talk about was like benefits, so like RRSPs and stuff. I do have an RRSP open. There's not much in there, but I do put money in there to help with tax stuff. So that's you need to put a certain amount to help with your tax stuff, depending on how much money I make in my business. It can help me kind of deduct how much I have to pay back. I have some mutual funds, but then those got messed up when we moved into our house because we had to like get down payment. So all of my kind of savings and benefits and RRSPs are kind of in a jumble right now because of the move. But this year I'm gonna try and kind of fix that all up again so I can have some, some money kind of doing its thing. Kind of like my investments, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna try and stabilize that for this year. And there was one more thing. Oh yeah, in school when I was in my business art class at school, I think if you make 30,000, at least here in Canada or Ontario, if you make 30,000 or more, then you have to claim a GST or an HST. I don't know if that counts for me this year. I don't know what, like, I don't think I did because, well, I did make 30 something thousand. That's gross. That's without all the expenses. But if you make 30,000 or more, that's when you have to charge GST and HST for the stuff that you sell. So at conventions, if I start to make like 35,000 or 40,000, then I have to, charge taxes. But I haven't really looked into that because I don't know that world yet. But yeah, and like I sell a lot of stuff on my store. I guess I would just have to pay for that tax during tax season. If I don't tax people on the store or at conventions, I will have to do it by myself. But yeah, don't really have, experience on that yet because I haven't crossed that bridge yet, or I'm not there yet. But I thought I'd mention that. And yeah, I just save all of my money right now. All of my art business money goes into my savings just because I have a day job that helps me with the other expenses. So if you have a day job and you want to open up an art business or start one, do so because you'll be a bit more free in terms of how much you want to spend doing your art in your art business, because you have that kind of safety net with your day job, and you can just, whatever money you make from your art business, you can just use for making, buying more art supplies or just putting it into your savings so you can pay your mortgage. But yeah, that's it. I think I'm repeating myself now at this point, so I hope that was helpful. Again, it was kind of tough for me to tell you guys that information, but I thought it would be very helpful because you rarely hear it from smaller creators like me. So yeah. Alright, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to do what I need to do today. I was planning on doing comics, so that's what I'm going to do. But first, I haven't sat down to do my agenda, so that's what I'm going to do. And I will talk to you guys later because I've been blabbering for like 30 minutes now, I think. Okay, bye. Okay, so it is now 12:24. Well, 12:44 actually. I haven't worked on comics yet. I just decided to sit down and kind of think of t-shirt designs again because I feel like I'm at a place now where I can go and put everything together. It's just that the place that I go get my screen prints done or my frames done is pretty far. I have to go send it online, then I have to go pick it up, so it takes pretty much a whole like studio day to do that. So I am going to be doing that all day on Friday, so I'm kind of thinking of designs now because on Friday is the second Empty Sketchbook Society meeting, or the second meeting for the art group, and it is from 6 to 8. So I'm probably gonna go wake up on Friday, which is tomorrow. I'm gonna wake up, I'm going to do some last minute, maybe admin art stuff here, and then I'm gonna head on off to the place where they do the screen printing thing. I'm gonna bring my design on a USB if I get it done. And then I'm gonna be like, can you replace the design on the screen? And then I'm gonna pick up some paint, and then that's gonna be that. And then I'm gonna head off and do the art group thing. So I was thinking about designs, and then once I do that, I am going to work on the comic. And it's only almost 1 p.m., so it's fine. Let me just show you the designs that I was thinking about. At first, I was thinking maybe I could use this design, which was it's a sticker design from a while back for the Light Gray Art Lab sticker set, which was an innuendo themed. So it's basically a girl munching on a banana, and I thought it was like a cute kind of design. Composition wise, it's very nice. It's just like an oval pretty much, and I can experiment with colors if I want to. But then I was like, what if I create something new? I also was thinking about doing another t-shirt involving Kevin, my cat character. So here he is with, at first it was just a heart that he was carrying, like a really big heart. And then I was like, what if it's an egg and it cracks open some eggs? It just doesn't make sense. And in one of my November drawings, I drew a girl like riding on top of a chicken leg. And I really like that drawing, so I was like, what if I made it a bit more simple? So I did that, but I don't think anybody would understand that. So and then I tried to draw my old character for my comic Sugar a while back. Another Kevin drawing here. Another Kevin drawing here. My idea for this one was Kevin was carrying like so many hearts, and the scale was there to show that he's not fat but full of love. It's too much. And then I drew a snail with feet. So, and then I just finished with this one. Well, I drew this like, I wanted to do like a babushka cat thing, not a babushka cat, what do you call those? A tiny like Russian doll kind of thing, but Russian nesting dolls, but like this tiger cat thing. And then I just drew this cat again, or tiger, and I came up with this one. I think I might have to work on the mouth, but he has a ball of yarn on one of his like finger paws there. I wanted his feet to kind of look like fingers and have a tiny claw at the front, so it kind of looks weird and kind of creepy. I do have to work on the mouth, but I'm in love with the face. Kind of reminds me of a Cheshire cat. I don't know how to say that. But I might go with this. I'm going to push it forward, see where it goes on Photoshop. I turned off my tablet last night when I was doing my taxes, so my receipts, so I can have space, so I have to reset my computer pretty much. So I'm going to shift over to Photoshop and see where we can take this. And if I do decide to go with this design, I can experiment with two colors, orange and black. So the orange would be just the shape, and then I would have to kind of make sure everything is aligned and do the black on top. So that's the idea for this. And I think it would look great in a t-shirt. It's going to be really bright if I do end up going with orange. Maybe I'll go with a more pale orange, but I quite like it. I do. So, and I'm thinking it'll look good on tote bags too, but we'll see. We'll see. But before we do that, I want to go downstairs and check on this thing that I'm making. I'm pretty much oven drying or oven baking strawberries. So let's see. I have to check on them. They've been in here for 2 hours now. Well, no, 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours. I'm vlogging it for Patreon, so. Oh. Yeah, definitely need a couple more, maybe 2 more hours. They're still squishy. I predict they might be like more drier than this. I can definitely tell there's more moisture, so. Okay, cool. I will show you guys the AeroGarden though. Look at that. We got lots of herbs we have to go through. And we're still waiting on the mint. It said it was shipped this week, so. But look at that. It's like reaching the top there. Wow. Good morning, guys. It is Friday, 10 a.m. I am editing the vlog right now, and it's already at the hour mark. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it off here, gonna say my goodbyes. I do have some more footage from yesterday. So that's going to be in the next vlog. I don't want it to be longer than an hour or in a few minutes. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. I hope it was the tax stuff or the expense stuff was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Please don't be mad at me if I did something wrong in my taxes. If you have any tips, then definitely put them in the comment section. But everybody does their expense sheets a different way and spends their money a different way. So I hope you guys understand that and don't get mad at me. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye now. I have to do a bunch of stuff before I head off to the art group thing tonight. But yeah, I will see you guys next week. I hope you have a great weekend, and bye.